Hello everyone, welcome back. Our story is about to get a lot more sad, I'm afraid. We've journeyed now to the Garden of Gethsemane. It looks quite pretty here in the daylight, doesn't it? But I think back then there weren't any flowers. And of course, when Jesus went there, it was very late at night. Jesus went to the garden with his friends because he knew he needed to pray. Now, Christians believe that Jesus was both fully God and fully human. We don't know how, it's a mystery. But because we believe that Jesus experienced all the emotions that we feel as humans. He got scared and sad and worried. And he felt like that on this night, which is why he took his friends and went to a place where he knew he could take some time to pray and hear his Father's voice. So Jesus went to the garden with his friends, and he asked them to pray too. He went a little distance away from them and started to pray. But his friends fell asleep. Perhaps you can pretend that you're asleep now too. Jesus looked over and saw them sleeping, and he went and shouted, "Wake up! Can't you pray with me for 1 hour?" So again, Jesus went to pray. But again, his friends fell asleep. You can pretend again, but no snoring. And again, Jesus went and shouted, "Wake up!" He went aside again to pray. And once again, his friends fell asleep. But this time, it wasn't Jesus who woke them. It was the Roman soldiers. They had arrived, led by Judas and the religious people. They arrested Jesus, and all his friends ran away, scared that they might be arrested too. They took Jesus before the Roman governor. His name was Pontius Pilate. Now, Pilate didn't think that Jesus had done anything wrong, but outside the crowds who had shouted, "Hosanna!" were now shouting that Jesus should be crucified. Pilate was scared that there might be a revolt. He'd heard that some people wanted Jesus to be king, and he couldn't let that happen. The emperor would be very angry with him. So he decided that it was best that Jesus should be put to death. So he gave Jesus over to the guards. They bullied him. "So you think you're a king?" they snorted, and they dressed him in a robe and they put a crown on his head. But not a proper king's crown. No, this crown was made of thorns. And they led him away, and he had to carry his own cross. He carried it all the way to a place called Golgotha, where they nailed him to the cross with two other people, one on his left and one on his right. Here is the cross that we usually look at in school. On this cross, we can see Jesus. Next to him in blue, we can see Mary. And then in red, we can see his friend John, the only one of his disciples who hadn't run away. I wonder how you think Mary and John are feeling as they see Jesus on the cross. I wonder, do you think he's acting like a king now? As I said, Christians believe that Jesus was fully God and fully human. And so many people have wondered why he let this happen to him. Why didn't he stop it happening if he was God? Why did he let himself die on the cross? I wonder, why do you think he let it happen? Christians believe many things about this. I can't tell you them all now, we'd be here for a long time. But many people say that when Jesus died on the cross, it shows us not only that God understands all the pain that we go through, but that he fully loves and forgives us. Put your arms out like you're Jesus on the cross. When else might you put your arms out this wide? When you hug someone. Go on, give yourself a hug. When Jesus stretched out his arms on the cross, it shows us how God was giving the world a great big hug and a promise that he would make everything right again one day. This is why we call the day we remember this story on Good Friday. Some people have said it should be called Bad Friday or Sad Friday because the story is so sad. But as Christians, we call it Good Friday because even though Jesus' death was so sad, we believe that God was acting for our good. This is one of my favourite pictures of the cross. I love it because I can see how Jesus felt. I can see Mary and John, but I can also see the angel at the top, reminding me that even though Jesus felt alone, God was still with him. Perhaps you could pause this video now and make your own cross or draw your own picture of Jesus on the cross, how you think it might have been. I'll be here when you come back. After 3 hours on the cross, Jesus took a deep breath. Go on. He cried out in a loud voice, "It is finished!" And then he died. Some of his wider circle of friends who hadn't run away got permission to take his body down from the cross, and they laid him in a borrowed tomb. Then they rolled a great big stone in front, and the Roman soldiers stood guard in front of it. But was that the end of the story? Thankfully not. We have one more part of the story to tell. So I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to share with me, if you can, any pictures you're creating of this story at home. But remember to ask an adult. See you soon.